What's up, everybody? I'm
Wait, hold up.
Salflani,
Wait. Is that
and
all for
this
the
is
intro
this
music?
is Reggie Steele.
No, that's all we got for the intro music.
I don't have. Oh, do you want me to just go into it?
Well,
I can't
yeah.
do beats though. You got to
No,
do
you
beats.
gotta, you gotta do. S-
Mm, mm,
there you go.
mm, mm,
Spitballin,
mm, mm,
spitballin.
mm,
Welcome
mm,
to Spitballin.
with Reggie and Sal.
Yeah.
All right, so that was really horrible. So there, I got good news. Let's go right off the top. Good
All right, let's do it.
news.
Let's do it. Let's
Good
do it.
news, Reg.
Oh wait, hold up. First, we have to address the fact that I do not have a hat on.
Yeah, you're not wearing a hat. You're showing the whole dome. You got a big head.
Dude, you know what? It's comments like that that's gonna make me go get a hat. It's comments like that that's gonna make me go get a hat. Because that's the whole purpose of wearing the hat, so I can reduce the dome status. But
Head dome. What's your size? 7 7/8.
Nah, that's too big. I'm 7.5, man. Come on.
That's it?
Yeah, 7.5.
I'm 7 1/8.
Oh, you got a little head. You got a small head for your body.
Seven and a half's pretty big, bro. I don't know.
I got a
Yours
big
looking
body,
like
man.
big.
Dude, I'm 260. I got a big body. Okay, you got a big head and a little body.
You remind me, we used to work with this guy named Omar. You know, he kind of remind me of him. We used to call him Jupiter Head. And then I used to do circles around him, and I tell my friends, I'm like, look, dude, I'm stuck in his orbit. Well, I can see why comments like that makes you wear hats. I apologize.
Oh, that's funny. Nah, man, I started wearing them, and then they became my Linus's blanket, man. It was just like a comfort for me. But now with these comments, I'll be back to the hats. Okay.
I love hats. I've always loved hats, and then once I started losing my hair, they became a main thing.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
It's like I've worn them since I was. I don't know. I love them. I don't know.
Well, I started wearing them like probably somewhere in the mid 20s, right? Early 30s, late 20s, early 30s, somewhere around there. And then I was into my colors. I wasn't just wearing a hat because I wanted to wear a hat. It was like, yo, it matched my outfit. You know how black people do, right? So I had the red hats, the yellow hats, blue hats, gray, black, purple, green, orange, paisley, what you want. I had all of it, dude. Still got them. But now I just go with the D. For the most part, the MLB-D, go back to the Detroit.
Oh, Detroit, because that's where you're from.
Yes, sir. Well, that's where I was born.
You like this one? This one's got bumblebees on it.
Oh, that's nice, man. I like that a lot. I like that you're rocking the pink.
Dude, I've been into, I got pink shoes this week.
Were you Cameron? You Cameron from the late 90s?
On, I'll show you the dope.
Okay, let me see. So we're going to look at Sal's pink shoes right now, folks. This is next level.
First time ever. My first pair.
Okay.
Air Force Ones, baby.
Wow. Those are nice. Yo, those are
slick,
clean.
Right?
Yo, those are clean. Hey, dude, you can't wear those.
Why?
You can't wear those. Those are too nice, man. Keep them in the box. Seriously. Dude, you can't wear those, Sal. You got to keep those in the box, man.
They're slick. But, yeah, well, nice. They look good. That's another thing, like stage, because we're on stage. I'm like, shoes, hat, nice clothes. It's
important. It is.
I don't know. People are going to be looking at you. You want to have a little thing.
You know what? I agree. You want to look your best on stage. I kind of want to share this moment with Tracy Morgan that I had.
Right off the bat. Let's do it, baby. Good stories.
But you know what though? I'm not gonna share it because it's not necessarily like it's not a bad story, but it's just kind of it's like a what? Like what the wait.
Well, you gotta share it now, Reg.
Oh, come on, man. All right. So I see Tracy Morgan at Cobb's Comedy Club, San Francisco, right? And before the show, he's hanging out a little bit. So everyone's just kind of hanging out. Not a big deal, just around.
You're not working with him, you're just coming to the show.
Yeah, because I had never seen him. Now I've heard tons of stories about him. And
he's filthy, they say.
Well, he's filthy, but also just like some of the stuff with the managers, like with the staff, some of his requests, right? Like I've heard a lot of crazy stories about his demands in regards to, his whole thing. So I was like, let me go check this dude out. So I watched the show, and true to form, it's filthy. It's filthy. People get up and leave, whatever the case may be. Um, there was one moment where I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. We about to talk about some real stuff," but then that quickly descended. He was talking about being at the correspondence dinner with Barack and Michelle, right? And I was like, "Oh snap! This dude's about to like we get to hear some shit. I've never been to the correspondence dinner. This dude was around the president of the United States. He's at this dinner. He's this whole thing, and it quickly descended to how big Michelle Obama's ass was, and I was like, I was like, all right, well, there's Tracy Morgan, right? Well, after the show, there are a bunch of comics. We're all sitting there talking to him and stuff, and this one guy asked the age-old question that all new and young comics ask: "Hey, you got any advice for a new comic?" Right?
Which they hate hearing. Everybody hates hearing.
Yeah, I mean, because the answer is always the same, man. There's no substitution for stage time. You just got to get up. You got to get up,
Right.
be fearless, take chances, push yourself, right? Don't get comfortable, don't settle, whatever the case may be. But Tracy Morgan said, and I quote, he said, if you want to make $1 million, now mind you, he had on a diamond encrusted bracelet, right? It had to be like this wide, no joke. Diamonds, little pole, right? Like, for the hinges, right? Diamonds, hinge, this thick on his wrist, like this wide around, right? And this guy says to the comic, in response to him saying, any words of advice for, young comics, Tracy Morgan says, if you want to make $1 million, you gotta look like $1 million. He held up his $1 million bracelet and basically told a bunch of comics who were broke as dirt, right? If you want to make $1 million, you gotta look like $1 million. And held up his bracelet. And at that point, you know me, I'm a grown ass man. I was like, okay, all right, guys, I'm out. I'll see y'all later. I'm like, those my words of wisdom, words of advice from Tracy Morgan. If you want to make $1 million, you gotta look like $1 million. Holding up his bracelet, man.
I remember I heard David tell once, and this was one of my favorites, and I've always just repeated this to people, was what you got to do is you write and you perform, and you write and perform, and when you're done with that, you write and perform some more.
That's it. That's the best advice you're going to get for comedy. Yeah. I add a little bit more. I'll say write, perform, right? Record it, preferably video, go back, edit, rewrite, perform, video, go back, edit, write, perform, repeat, watch, rinse, repeat. So
I always like to record it because then you could, hear what you said, especially when you're working on something new.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what I've come to realize is audio recording is great, but you got a video.
Yeah, video helps, but sometimes it's, you're not going to go to some shitty open mic for 5 minutes and be the idiot to set up your little camera in the back and like record.
Why not? It ain't about nobody else. Because think about it, dude.
Come on. What do you need? You need to see how you moved your left hand in 2-minute mark?
No, Sal, you're forgetting. Because when you're a seasoned comic now, like you know how to stand there.
Are you talking about when you start? Even when you start, I never had a camera.
When you start there and you're sitting there doing this, so
I did sway a lot, and people would say I went back and forth a lot.
Exactly,
like a tiger,
prowling the little.
I was like, I want to kill this crowd,
and they could feel it as they try. The crowd is sitting there watching you like this.
Like, damn, this motherfucking cat.
Like my neck's starting to hurt. This dude moved too much. You either get the sway or you get the people who are like, so they start rocking. So I grew up in Vancouver, and it's like you need to see yourself, or you see the people who do this. So it's just sometimes as a comedian, it's just really hard, man, because I just it's like, dude, get your hand out your face.
Some people always touching their hair, which is so annoying.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just saying, if you video, you get to see all those little ticks, and then you can remove those and get right to it.
But even when those ticks are gone, you still should be recording your set, even by audio, just so you could hear the jokes. Yeah, because even like a tell, they would still do it every time. You know what I mean? Like I'd see these guys always. So even the best, you got to always record.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
There's all these sirens going on in my background. I don't know if you hear. East Hollywood's blowing up right now, son.
I hear. All I'm waiting for now is the boom, 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 boom. Sal Kalani, we know you're in there.
Get your ass out of there. I'm wearing my my John Michel Basquiat sweatshirt. Reg.
Oh,
Well,
that's
they just took a
cool.
segment of his photo of his painting and put it on a hoodie. But what I was gonna say when I saw his documentary last week, and one of the greatest lines was this guy goes, yeah, he's like, he was famous when he was still broke. That's how you know he was great. I mean, because he was already tagging New York and people knew of them. And
right. I think that's also an indictment, not an indictment, but an assessment of a true painter and artist, because a lot of times they don't become famous until after they die, right? Like they don't become rich until they're dead, right? Like when they're alive, everyone's like, I don't know if this guy's gonna make it. And then the moment they're gone, everyone's like, I gotta have it. While the whole time this dude is sleeping on his friend's floor, right? Like painting in someone's basement, huffing in fumes. So, but that's a cool shirt. That's a cool shirt.
Thank you, buddy. My wife, I'm always afraid to wear it. Like the second I'm done recording this, I'm gonna take it off because you don't want to get a stain.
Yeah,
white,
but then,
man.
I get it, but then you're not wearing it. What's the
point of wearing it inside? If I'm going somewhere or doing something, you know what I mean?
Okay. Oh, you talking about inside the house? Like you
inside
wear it
the
out.
house. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, even then though, I gotta know where I'm going. If I'm going out for wings or something or barbecue, no, this isn't coming. Once you stated, you know,
Sal's most precious possession is his Basquiat hoodie.
No, white. I'm just saying, white clothes, man. You know,
I get it.
I don't have many, but I look good in white. So
wait, let me ask you this. So, when you go out to eat, there's a chance that you're gonna drop food on your shirt. Is that
always?
Always.
Yeah. Oh, look at you, Mr. Neat Cleaner. What are you using? Forks and shit?
Yeah, I try to use utensils. That's what we got these for. That's what we got these for, right? That's what they allow us to do. And I also do this, Sal. I tend to eat over my plate, right? I very rarely pick the food up and bring it all.
No.
Oh, man.
You might have a piece of, lettuce that's a stage 5 clinger that hangs onto your little facial, jumps off onto your hoodie.
Okay. Trying to escape.
You
got a piece of lettuce trying to, he's willing to commit suicide to get away.
And then as it jumps, it's like, wow, look at that fresh virgin white hoodie I can land on.
Yeah, I love that it was virgin too. It's got to be virgin.
Like the virgin snow, baby.
It's funny. It's what's that saying? It's like like the shucks, what is it? Like the fresh undriven snow, right? Mm-hmm. Is that it? Or driven snow? It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
What about it?
It was just the idea that, that's good. Well, because I used to think like the undriven snow, right? Obviously, is just all white, right? Pure all white, right? But then I think people used to mess up and be like, it's fresh like the driven snow, and I go, driven snow is horrible. It's the worst. I'm like, what are you talking about? Driven snow? Like, you don't know. You've never been in snow. Anybody who says something like that has never been in snow. So, all right, that was.
I don't miss driving in. I mean, I kind of want to learn back to driving in snow. Oh, yeah, here it is. As pure as the driven/undriven snow.
See, yeah, that's it. Pure as the driven snow. Where did that saying
come from? Yeah, so it looks like it. You're not wrong that people confuse this.
Yes. But if it's driven, we've all driven. With the snow, it gets all slushy. It's black snow. It's horrible. Like pure as the driven snow.
Oh, this is a fucking recipe.
Okay.
For some kind of cookie with powdered sugar. Okay, so here this says it's driven. The phrase "as pure as the driven snow" means a person who is morally pure, innocent. During a snowstorm, the snow blows and never settles. Hence, it's called driven snow, and no one walked on it, and it is pure.
Oh, so the idea of driven implies that it hasn't been touched yet.
Yeah,
because I always thought it was driven like someone had already walked through it or someone's drove through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
which taints it. So I thought it might have been the other way. So okay, so hey, kudos to them. They got it right. I got it wrong. I thought it was the opposite. I'm like, yeah, you're as pure as the driven snow, right? Like, which is not, So all right, well, you learn something new every day.
All right, so good news that we opened up after hearing that horrible song you sang, I reached out to Jasper Red, and he said he's gonna make an intro tune for us.
Yeah.
And
Way
he'd
to
like
go,
to
Jasper.
sometime down the line, and he'd like to be a guest. And I was like, not a problem. We'd love to have you as a guest.
Oh
That'd be
man,
great.
dude, you know how awesome it would be to have Jay Red
Man,
on
dude, that's an artist.
Spitballin.
Speaking of artists, that guy,
Oh
I
man.
didn't know he'd write me back. And I reached out and he wrote me right back. He's like, I got you. I was like,
Oh, dude, that's awesome. I'm excited. I am truly amped. You know, Jay Red, I didn't know him that well because we weren't in the same clique. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were in the same scene, but we didn't hang out a lot, right? But
Yeah.
just being around him, he was always real cool. I ran into him in Alabama, believe it or not. Yes, I ran into him at the University of Alabama. He was doing a college show. And
you were just in town?
Yeah, I was in town, but I forget why I was down there. I was down there for something, but yeah, I saw his set. I saw his set. It was interesting too. It was funny because it was like rush week. So there's all these sororities that, you know, a part of their hazing was like they all had to come to a comedy show, whatever. And yeah, I got a picture, man. I got a picture of he and I in Alabama at the University of Alabama at one of his comedy shows, a college gig. So
that's cool.
So yeah, man, I love Jay Red. I've always admired him and appreciated him. So
I got to I hung out with him and stuff, and became friends over him mainly through Tecmo Bowl.
Okay.
The Nintendo Tecmo Bowl. And I had a Nintendo, and then he used to work at Pasta Pomodora in the inner Richmond, and I lived in the outer Richmond. So he would come over after work and we'd play Tecmo Super Bowl.
And then I'm sure you guys would
we smoke a little weed. Sometimes we write jokes. Yeah. We had you, Leinbach, Jasper, all you guys come over. Sometimes we'd write. And yeah, I remember one time we were writing and you were talking about how good you were at Tetris because you play on the toilet all the time. We're like, all right, thanks, Reg.
Hey man, I had a Game Boy. I had Tetris. In fact, I still got my Tetris Game Boy. And just for that, I'm about to bring it back out. So,
is it still next to the toilet right now?
Well, I don't know, but no, it's not.
Is it color Game Boy? Is it the green one, the old school?
It's the old school one.
No really? Color.
Yeah,
you could sell that, bro, and make money.
Really? All right, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it because I still got it. And I'm telling you right now, I am a Tetris master. You saw me at your place.
Yeah.
I got it. It was going so fast, it was a blur. He was like, and I'm like,
it still works. Like you put the cartridge in the back of it?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
What other games do you have?
I don't know. I got something Zelda and maybe like Pokemon or something like that.
I remember Spider-Man. I played Spider-Man on there. And you play Rhino, and it was so corny though, because it's very, very simple graphics.
Yeah, very simple. Someone gave it to me. Someone was like, yo, I got this Game Boy if you want it. I'm not using it. And so dude gave it to me long time ago. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like he mailed it to me, you know this. I was gonna say, I remember one time at your place, we had a writing session. And this joke always, I don't think Jasper ever fully developed it, but he was high at this point. And I don't know if you remember this, but he was talking about he wanted to write a joke about how hyenas laugh, right? Like they're the only animal that kind of laughs to some degree. That may be one other, like a monkey or something. Yeah. And he was like, he was like, you know, hyenas laugh. I'm thinking, what if the other animals are like hiding when they laugh? Like, you know, like, you know, behind the bushes, you go when you see elephants and giraffes, and they like they can laugh too, but they just be hiding when they do. It was funny, man. At the time I was sitting there, I was like, oh, this dude is high. I was like, you gotta be high. Like to even come up with the idea that because hyenas laugh, there gotta be other animals that laugh, but they're embarrassed, so they hide so that they don't, you know what I mean?
He'd have kind of interesting concepts. Like I remember he had this one, I don't know if he ever developed it either, but it was about like, you know, vegetarian, like chicken nuggets trying to be like nuggets when it are fake nuggets. It's like meat, like veggie stuff trying to be meat products. You know what I mean?
yeah. Like, yeah, okay. So veggies trying to be something else, right?
Yeah.
But he's got the whole joke. Remember the whole joke about McDonald's and Grimace, right?
Yeah.
Right. When you eat it.
Yeah, because Grimace is what your heart makes when you
it's like when you eat it. Yeah, exactly. Yo, we can't go into
that toast.
Oh, dude. I tell people that joke right now. I always give him credit.
Do that
I go,
one. I don't remember it.
oh, dude, one of
Well, I'll
my
mess it
favorite
up.
Just
I
for Red
remember it.
jokes of all time is, man, guns don't kill people. People kill people. That's like saying toasters don't toast toast. Toast, toast, toast. Man, think about that. Toasters don't toast toast. Toast, toast, toast. Dude, I love that joke. It's one of my favorites. All right, so we can't go too deep. If we're gonna have one of the guests, we'll let him.
We'll
let him get deep. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad you reached out. I'm glad he responded. Excited to have J Red on the spot on the show on Spitballin, and he's gonna come up with a beat for our intro.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Oh, dude,
That'd
I can't
cool.
wait. I can't wait. Cool. Yes.
All right, some more good news.
All right.
The racism has been solved. It's over because the Chauvin verdict is in. Right? Is that how it works?
Dude, you just proved that this is a comedy podcast with that statement right there. You just proved it. Yeah.
I mean, what's the word? Facetious or sarcastic? Or I don't know.
You mean all that. Yeah, no, it's I mean, okay, first off, kudos to the jury for getting it right in this case, right? I think it was pretty obvious. We all watched the dude for close to 10 minutes kneel on a man's neck, which was just crazy. And then to see the smug look on his face, that look of defiance of like, what are you going to do? Like, you can't do anything about it. And now, justice will be served in that regard. So I'm sure he's going to appeal. We'll see what happens. He won't be in prison for life because it wasn't first degree. So he's got, was it third degree? I think it was third degree murder. And then
I thought there was a second degree.
Oh, second degree murder and then third degree manslaughter.
Yeah. So there's 3 charges, and right. They could total over like 40 years, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's the max. He won't get the max, I don't think. But I will say that it was a huge moment for accountability, man. Like, you're talking about racism in this country. The only way that we're going to ever overcome it or move past it is, white people have got to hold other white people accountable, right? As far as black people are concerned, or any other minority in this country, in order for us to get ahead, white people have to join the struggle. We can't do it by ourselves. Our numbers are too small. Right. So in this case, accountability was served, right?
Did you see the drama the Raiders dusted up?
Well,
when they tweeted, "I can breathe."
Oh, okay. I did see something about that because I saw Don Lemon said he was not offended by the statement, but I didn't know what the statement was. So the guy said, I can't, I can breathe now. Right.
Yeah, basically, which is kind of like, well, he can't, he died.
No, I don't. Oh, you take it that way. See, I'm taking it from the sense of like him feeling like, oh, there was some redemption, right? Like before I couldn't breathe because your foot was on my neck, but now this guy's being held accountable. So now I can actually breathe.
I see. Yeah. I mean, well, and then like LeBron was upset about it, and he's the one who wrote accountability. Okay. And so I mean,
it's all about interpretation, man. I mean,
they didn't mean anything bad. They meant good.
Right. He's saying like finally justice has been served. At least that's how I didn't read it, but if that's what it said, as much as that, I'm taking it in the sense of him saying, like, I've been holding my breath, I can't breathe, waiting to see what this trial is, and now, or what the results are. Now the results are the guy's guilty.
I will say at that moment, like that half hour waiting for the results, it was like that. Like,
oh yeah, oh dude, that tension.
It was tense. Yeah,
that tension because it was a powder keg ready to blow. Right.
It was on 420, and at Central Time, 420 of Minnesota, they released the verdict pretty much, and then everyone could exhale.
Someone could exhale, like, finally, right? Because think about it, man. We've already we saw Rodney King get his ass handed to him by 5 or 6 cops, and what seemed like a slam dunk, a layup, the easiest shot, a free throw, they legitimately were like, nah, not guilty. Like, yo, you didn't see the same video we saw? So in this case, watching the footage, it's almost impossible to watch that footage and come to any other conclusion, right? Like,
you would think that, but before we get to that, I wanted to say one more of just people being out of touch, and even who mean well on the thing. Like Nancy Pelosi said this.
Oh
which is
yeah, I heard she said something.
she goes, "Thank you, George Floyd, for
Oh,
sacrificing your
sacrificing you.
life for justice.
Yeah.
For being there to call out to your mom. How heartbreaking. And because of you, your name will always be synonymous with justice." But yeah, like he didn't meaningfully go in there to sacrifice his life. He was killed. He was
Right,
murdered.
right. She misspoke. She misspoke. Right.
Right. It just
I,
seems like out of touchness is at all different levels.
well, I mean, I think she was trying to say something positive, right? Like trying to gather something good from his passing, meaning,
Right.
but to say that he sacrificed himself, meaning like because the sacrifice is like to a willing act, right? To give up something willingly. He didn't give this up. This was taken from him.
Right.
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 So I think, in other words, instead of saying your sacrifice, I think, maybe just even, your passing or your murder would not be in vain, right? Something to that effect. Okay. But I think she just misspoke, right?
Yeah.
I think she just misspoke. All right, you got another one though.
So on the other side, though, how could it be misinterpreted? Well, let's talk about Tucker Carlson, who I call a racist potato with hair. This dude. So here's this clip.
Jury in the Derek Chauvin trial came to a unanimous and unequivocal verdict this afternoon. Please don't hurt us. No politician or media figure has the right to intimidate a jury. And no political party has the right to impose a different standard of justice on its own supporters.
Yeah, so please don't hurt us is basically like what he's saying about basically the jury was scared into their verdict because they were worried all this violence would happen if they didn't do it that way.
Really? That's what so the question is then, what did he think the verdict should have been, right? So he's saying that they acted out of fear. They chose guilty out of fear, right? Fear that something was going to happen. So let's say, for example, there is no fear, right? They're not worried about their lives or their livelihood. So then what did he want them to how did he want them to judge? Not guilty? Right. So that's basically what he's saying. It's like, yo, read between the lines. This dude he has a dog whistle for his demographic or his base or whatever it is, man. But that's whack, man. I can't believe that dude and I watched the same video.
I'd like to see the guy who did it looks like he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. So I'm kind of more worried about the rest of the country, which, thanks to police inaction, in case you haven't noticed, is like boarded up. So that's more my concern. But I appreciate you coming on, Ed Gavin. Thank you.
Police in action. What is he talking about? What's that?
Thank you.
So he's saying that all these towns are boarded up now, and cops aren't going to do anything because the verdict's about to be released, or I don't know what the fuck he's doing. You know what he's doing is he's trying to promote this fear that something's going to happen. He's saying all this violence would have happened. Like he's predicting something that never happened. He's saying there was going to be violence, and maybe not, but you can't just say. It's just like he just makes shit up, dude.
What I want to know is I would love to just sit down with him, and I'd love to be on a platform that he doesn't control, meaning that he can just cut me off or, cut the camera or whatever. But I'd like to ask him, how does he feel or what does he think about a person being kneeled on for close to 10 minutes and dies as a result of asphyxiation? Like, what does he think is supposed to happen, right? How the person who kneeled on someone, what should happen? If you don't think that they should be found guilty.
Here's a quote from February 10th, 2021. He said, "There was no physical evidence that George Floyd was murdered by a cop, and the autopsy showed that George Floyd almost certainly died of a drug overdose." But this is now that's his quote. But of course, this is conflicted with findings of 2 autopsies. He died from homicide from police. Derek Chauvin kneeling on his neck. So he's just lying.
He's lying. Well, he's lying. First off, he's lying for his core group, right? Like
which are
his
scared,
viewers.
Anxious, old white people.
Yes, I don't even know if they old, man. All those tiki torch carrying, khaki pants wearing dudes is not old. Right.
Here's another quote that he said about Black Lives Matter. "It may be a lot of things this moment we're living through, but it's definitely not about Black lives. And remember that when they come for you, and at this rate, they will." So then after he said that, he was referring to the Democratic Party. This was, I believe, last year. And all these people pulled out advertisers, like 20 advertisers. But still, that week after he said those comments, it was the highest rankings his show had. It went
Dude,
up 8%.
he is sowing fear and dissent amongst people.
Mhm.
And he did not mince words. He knew that he was not talking about the Democratic Party is coming for you. He knew he was talking about people coming for, or the government, or people coming for you. He's sowing fear, man. You know what sucks about this dude, man? For one, the hypocrisy is ridiculous and it's so blatant. And he has no worries. Like he's not even like concerned about the idea that he'll be caught on his hypocrisy. He doesn't care. He's like, look, I said it, I stand by it. My listeners, they listen to me, they believe it. But the thing that sucks, this is the thing that sucks, and it's bothers me so much, is that at one point, Rush Limbaugh was like the voice of, let's just say, racism, right?
Mhm.
Straight up racism. And then you had Bill O'Reilly, who was basically the voice of racism, right? And so there's this idea, at one point you used to feel like, man, if we just get rid of Bill O'Reilly and we get rid of Rush Limbaugh, like we could actually probably get somewhere. But no, because as soon as you get rid of
there's
one
always
of those,
another one.
there's always, it's like there's a dude waiting on deck who's like,
Bill O'Reilly,
ooh.
nope. Sean Hannity, nope.
Yeah, Sean
Tucker
Hannity.
Carlson, Megyn Kelly left. But that's kind of how he moved up too, because Megyn Kelly left, and then Bill O'Reilly got in trouble, and then he moved up. But he came in right when Trump came in, and then he's pushed every lie.
He's pushing that. Dude, you know, let's think about this real quick. Bill O'Reilly, which the previous administration gave this dude like was it Congressional Medal of Freedom or something? Or
he's talking about Bush? Oh, Trump? Oh, yeah.
Trump. Yeah, it gave him something. So now Rush Limbaugh is gone because he passed away from cancer. Sean Hannity, I think he went blind, right? I think he went blind. Like something happened. He was going blind. Yo, man, I'm just saying. And then Bill O'Reilly had all he basically got caught up in the Me Too movement, and just, you know, women came out the woodwork, was like, yo, I'm just saying, man, I think that evil kills, man. Like evil is just, I don't even know if I can say that. But the dudes are just evil, man. They just, for me personally, they just represent that level of manipulation, that level of deceit consciously, right? It's just like, yo, you're foul, man. You're wrong. And he will carry on. Every time I see a Fox News logo somewhere, or even I see somebody watching it, I can't help but just associate it with misinformation, manipulation, lies, deceit, deception, just evil, man, just wrong.
Here's another thing. The Playboy model that Trump slept with and then he paid off, she sued Tucker Carlson and Fox because he claimed she was extorting the president. And the judge, who was appointed by Trump, threw the court case out and said Carlson makes exaggeration and not literal commentary, and what he says is not stating actual facts on his show. So it's kind of like he says he's news, but then the court case, the judge gets him thrown out of getting sued because they say, well, it's not facts, you guys.
It's not facts. It's just opinion.
Nobody believes that. Yeah.
It's just opinion. Wow. You see? And this is systemic, right? The guy at the top appoints the judge. The guy gets in trouble for whatever he does. And then the judge that's appointed by the same people lets the guy off. This is a perfect example of what privilege and systemic racism, like power and control by the idiots. That's not even a word I use, but.
And we're not done, Reg. It's not done yet. So,
oh man.
Last week, he suggested white replacement theory. You know about that? Where, it's basically like saying that white voters are getting replaced by immigrants, and that's what they want, this whole new demographic coming in. It's an old white supremacist theory. Now, this is horrible. What you could just say it's Tucker Carlson, but what happened yesterday, a Republican congressman from Pennsylvania brought it up in a committee meeting. And so now it's like this native born. Yeah, it's just like now it's even in Congress, and it's kind of like, and all they do is watch his news and then reiterate it.
Oh my goodness. They just regurgitate all the nonsense that he spews. Dude, white replacement.
Yeah, for
That's
many
what you know.
Americans, for many Americans, what seems to be happening or what they believe right now is happening is what appears to them we're replacing national born Americans with native born. And that's, that's what the congressman said. And this is it's just fear. It's
It's
gross
fear,
fear and racism.
dude. He's stoking the flames of their fear, dude. Right? Like,
Yeah.
because their biggest fear is that they will no longer be in control. Like, we're not gonna be the majority anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Right? Like they're trying to replace us. Right? Because remember, even with the tiki torture carriers, they kept talking
Exactly.
about
Same idea.
you will not replace us. You will not like what is the dude? It's man, this shit is sad, man. It's like this is analysis on like some psychological shit on a whole nother level. We need to bring in a psychologist to really like talk about this and get deep into the mind of the white male in America. Dudes is
Yeah.
fucked
Yeah. I
up.
don't understand this fear. Like I never understood it, man, and I
But
don't get it. And like, I even have a joke about it because I talk about how my family is all they're for the wall and stuff.
right,
Like we got to keep the immigrants out. We got to keep the immigrants out. And I'm like, but we're Italian. Like my father wasn't born here. And then,
right.
they're like, well, a lot of them are criminals. A lot of them could be criminals. I'm like, well, so are some of those Italians. And we didn't ostracize them. We made movies about those criminals. They're
Right,
the best
right.
fucking movies around.
Exactly. It's funny. I like that you said that, and then they go to well, they don't even address your comment or your statement, right? Like, well, they're criminals. It's like, well,
Right.
we were too, right?
Right.
Well,
Right.
they're coming to get us. You know what I think it is, man? I think it's on some level, man. It's like when you treat someone poorly, right, for so long, and you degrade them and you diminish their place in the world and life in general. There's a fear that if they get some power or the opportunity, that they're going to do to you what you did to them.
Right.
And so there's a little bit of that fear too, of like, because you look through history, like for this thing I've been writing, these guys I've been working with, there's been a lot of just research and looking at history. And historically speaking, throughout the history of the world, white people have been fucked up, have done some fucked up shit to a lot of people in a lot of different places. I mean, colonization and the Crusades and whatever, anywhere you want to think about where they went in and imposed their will. Can you imagine if everybody else rose up and did the same thing? Like, it was like, yo, tables is turned, motherfucker. Click, clack, let's get it.
I mean, they say that's what a lot of like Jim Crow, and the KKK formed because right after the Civil War, they were afraid of how black people would react after being free slaves.
Right. And
well, fear.
But the thing that's messed up is that even during that time, man, they had beat it out of people, right? Yeah. Like a lot of the slaves were just resigned that this is, they beat the I'm not saying life, but like resilience to some degree out of them. That's why when you have the ones that show up later, like the Harriet Tubmans or the Frederick Douglasses, right, or whoever else, like that kind of broke those mental chains, because the chains were not just physical, right? It was mental in a lot of ways. So when those chains, for some people to break out of those chains mentally and physically, and then have the wherewithal to be like, yo, snap out of it, man. It's like, yeah, it's been like this for centuries, but yo, look, let's get the hell out of here, right? And then people started to come out of it. So white people knew that they was fucked up. And so when they were free, they were like, oh, dude, they're gonna, but black people were like, yo, I just want to work and live without being attacked, right? So
yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of it's just, fear-based, and and even like at the time, I remember growing up in the 90s and the 80s, the news was always like, Cleveland was very segregated, but anytime there's news, there's some crime in East Cleveland, you'd always see, black youth on the news. And then you never saw, I had one black kid in my class and he was adopted by white people. So it was kind of like, is this whole, you segregate. And until I really started working downtown and I worked with people of color, then you get to know each other and become friends. And you always know, like, everybody's everybody, people are people, but until you really experience it, I don't think.
Well, what happened was, I think you worked downtown and then you saw people that were counter to the images that you were fed, right? The images and ideas.
Right. I mean, like, and sometimes I'd be a little, I will say sometimes maybe there was a little fear when I first walked in. I remember this one guy, and I worked with guys, you know, a lot of guys lived in the projects. This was tough, you know, in Cleveland. I remember one guy came up right up to me. I think his name was Antoine, and he goes, "Is that you Italian?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "My boy just got fucked up in Little Italy. What you know about that?" And then I was like, "What?" And then he's just like, "Ha, I just fuck with shit." You know what I mean? And I'm
Dude,
gonna
that's
tell
funny.
you, man, being
That's
Italian
funny.
gave me a pass a lot. I feel because like
Oh,
even
yeah.
like I'd be in a group and I had a friend Dwan and I'd always hang. We were barbacks together and we'd always hang out. If somebody new came along who didn't know me, they're like, "Yeah, who's this white boy?" And they would say that, and then he'd be like, "Oh no, he's not white. He's Italian." Like they literally had to distinct it, and then it was okay. It was so, but it was, yeah. So you definitely,
Oh,
but
dude, that's
like
funny.
you know, bottom line is, you know, you gotta, and even I'll even say this. I remember one time I was hanging out with my friend and we were working, me and Dwan, and these white kids came in all dressed up, baggy pants, you know, all this stuff. And I said to him, "Hey, well, what do you feel about that?" I was like, "What do you feel about wiggers?" You know, and I'll never forget this. He goes, he stopped and he looked at me. He goes, "Well, if you call a white person a wigger, what do you call a black person?" And I was like, "Oh shit."
Ooh.
And then, you know what I mean? And it was just kind of like something that I was so used to saying and always dropping on people. And then you
Yeah,
never see
yeah,
it from a different perspective.
right.
And yeah, anyway. But yeah,
Yeah,
dude, bottom line is you can't be fucking afraid. Otherwise, you're just going to have these, like all this bullshit in your head that's not true.
right, right. Man, it's access. Access is key to
Yeah.
any level of, you know, advancement or evolution, right? Like you have to have access to people. The more you're around different people, the more you understand, because fear is all based on lack of knowledge,
Right.
right? It's fear of the unknown. So when you actually get to know different people, then that fear starts to subside, right? Like it diminishes because the thing that you were afraid of, now you see that it's not what you thought it was. Like you have to bring whatever's in the dark to the light to some degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, man, you know what's funny about that, the Italian thing, is I remember this had to be like high school or something, and I'm in Alabama, and you know, or maybe I was in college, and I kind of went home, and you know, I was talking about some girl I was dating or somebody I was seeing, and you know, one of my friends like, "Yo, she a white girl?" And I was like, "Nah, man, she ain't white. She's Italian, right?" and for a second, these dudes was like, "Oh, okay, all right, that's cool." And then one friend, one good friend of mine who's really smart, he goes, "Man, that's still white." I was like, yeah. So, so just for a moment, it can get you out of a pickle. What's up, white boy? Hey man, I'm Italian. Right, get the hell out of here. And then while you're running away, then one dude in the back's gonna be like, "Italian still white, motherfucker." Get him.
All right, so you were talking about being straight from Alabama, Reg, and I was telling you about the first time I went, you know, out of town on my own. I wanted to tell this tale, but you're clowning me. So here, I uploaded this clip on YouTube that you have on YouTube of you when you came straight to San Jose.
And I was like 18.
Yeah, when you're 18 years old.
Are you gonna show the video too?
Friendship.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe. Here's Reggie.
The coaches have with the players. And some places it's just players and coaches, but here it's like the coaches intermingle with the players and they talk to us, they get to know us, they help us out with whatever problems we have. And I think I like that attention, that sense of having a friend.
Great. I like that attention. He's like a friend. Now, first off, where'd that accent go?
I had a lisp. I had a little bit of a lisp.
Like, always, like growing up, you had a lisp?
I never knew that I had a lisp. I didn't know that I had a lisp until I heard that video, right? But it wasn't a lisp. I think I had braces at the time or a retainer or something, but it was like, you know, the players and the coaches and the coaches and the players, and they get to know each other. You know what I mean? So, yo, man, just for the record, I posted that video.
I know you did. I know you did.
I know it exists. I was like, yo, that's me. That's me. But you
know
that
hair, dude. You had that part right down the middle. Do they cut that? How do you get that?
Dude, I used to do that. That was my LJ. Larry Johnson used to have that. You go back and look at Larry Johnson.
LJ?
Oh, hell yeah. That was my dude. UNLV running Rebels. Dude, LJ 6'7", 250. beast mode. That dude had the part right down the middle. I used to get my joint. Bing. Yeah, man. But you know what though? I remember when coach came to me, he was like, we're doing this video and we want you to do it, right? Because he's like, look, I'm not gonna have any of these other guys on the team do it. They can't. They don't know how to talk.
They're like, I mean, God, how do they talk if they took the guy with the lisp? Like, other guy's missing his whole jaw.
It's like I could sit still and like pay attention and answer the question. Yeah, man, I remember that. I distinctly remember that time. That was my freshman year.
Was that local TV?
No, it was an internal video for the college, right?
Wow.
Internal, but also like internal and also for like promotion for people who are looking at the institution or something like that. Like they could play it in, maybe locally, right? But yeah, man, I was 18,
so you already,
man.
So like, because you were making fun, because now I looked it up when I first went out of town on my own, meaning I didn't go with my teammates or my field trip like you count. Because you go to basketball camps in the summer or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
This was just me on my own. And I just turned 20. I looked it up because the Cleveland Indians were hosting the All-Star game that weekend. And I was working at the ballpark and I took the week off, because I'd never been out of Ohio on my own. Like,
wait, you were 20. So you were in college. You were,
I started going to Cleveland State. No, I was freshman, maybe sophomore.
Hold up. At 20?
20 like 19, maybe.
Well, how old were you?
It was the end. It just, put it this way, it was in the summer, so it was right after my sophomore year.
Okay, there you go. Okay, how old were you when you graduated from college?
23 actually, because I took I took a half a year off.
Oh, okay. And, see, I didn't know that. Okay.
The hardest thing is to go back. I'm so glad I went back.
Yeah.
And another thing I did was I took all the math in the beginning, because I was really good at math and I got to get those out of the way, because then that shit's going to fade, and it's completely faded.
I mean, but you got a degree in biology. So kudos to you. My girlfriend in college studied biology. And I'm telling you right now, like her and with the organic chemistry, organic biology and anatomy and just all the labs and the sciences, yo, man, that joint was intense.
Oh, it was, put it this way. I was a great student in junior high. Like, they said I had like a 4.2 grade point average. They offered me the valedictorian in 8th grade of our school, and I turned it down because I did not want to speak in front of a crowd.
Are you serious?
How crazy is that?
Are you had no one to help you maneuver that? Like there was no one.
I was like, no, I don't want it. And they're like, all right.
So you didn't know what it meant really.
Yeah. And then in high school, I did pretty good in grades. And when I got to college and I did biology, I had to get a tutor for an organic chemistry class because it was so damn hard.
Yeah.
And it was just this Indian girl who worked with me. Her name was Shabangi, I remember. And she liked me, dude. And I didn't like her, but I needed to study at the grades. So then I remember like the first semester she helped. And then when she realized like I didn't want to do anything, she stopped coming and helping. It's like, I can't drive at night. And dude, I struggled that semester. It was tough, dude.
Oh, dude, you should have hooked up with Shabangi. That's all
for those grades. I like when I said I needed a tutor, and you're like, "Oh yeah, they'll get you that."
Typical shock. The thing is that I needed a tutor, and I never got one. This is a whole analysis. Yeah, this is a whole analysis on me on a different level. But there've been plenty of times that I've needed help, like legitimately, and for whatever reason, I'm like, no, I gotta figure it out. Like I should have reached out for help, right? Like I should have been like, yo, I need a tutor for this, this, and this. And a lot of it was just purely just time management and being able to manage practice, class, homework, conditioning, like all the other stuff that was jockeying for my time. Right. It was hard to manage trying to get all the time into study. Because you know how it is when you're in college. Like every professor every professor treats you like you're only taking their class. Right. You're like, dude, I got a full load, man. Like, you really? Right. So it's just, I had
this chemistry teacher. I couldn't even really understand him. He had such a thick accent. And then he wouldn't let you ask questions in class. He said, no, we don't have time for that. If you have questions, you come to me. And I would even go to him and I still don't know what the hell he was talking about. Right in my face. I didn't
That's
know what he was
funny.
talking
You
about.
should have recorded it and then went back and deciphered it like live word for word.
It
like,
was
okay. And chemistry is tough too, because chemistry, that class, like I took chemistry. One of the reasons why I'm not a physical therapist right now, or I became a physical therapist, was because of chemistry. Because everything is built on everything else. And if you miss one thing in the chemistry, it's a wrap, yo. So but okay, so let's get back to this,
here we go. So here's my story going down to Missouri with
hold on, let me say this.
with my punk friends.
Let me just say this. So remember, I left Alabama and came out to California by myself at 18.
Because you got accepted to a school.
Yeah. But I was 18 when I left home by myself. I'm just saying, compared to 20.
I went to a commuter school, and then I moved out at that time. I think I might have been. I don't know if I moved out yet. Not this time. I moved out at 20 though. But anyway, here's the bottom line.
All right.
So I was sick. I wanted to go sick of Cleveland. I'd go anywhere. The All-Star game came to town. I didn't even want to work it. I was like, let's go. Where's your dad live? My buddy Joe. So what brought this up is Joe listened on my podcast forever, and he thanked me this week on a text for bringing podcasts back because he loves listening to the podcast. So
awesome. Thanks, Joe.
So Joe invited me and these two other guys out to see his dad in Missouri. Okay. He was going to go drive down there for a week. It was me, Joe, Phil, who was like a wannabe Joe. We always thought he was gay, but then he ended up marrying a woman. But he wanted to be like Joe. Joe was like a punky goth kind of. He wasn't really goth. He was more punk guy. He get pissed that I said that, but he did shave his eyebrows at one time. I don't know what that was about.
Wait, didn't you have a friend named Joe that moved out here with you?
That was a different Joe. Yeah,
a different Joe.
That Joe. Yeah, that's now racist Joe. We'll talk about him another time.
Yo, he's racist now.
Man, Joe lost his mind, dude. He like told me, this is the other Joe, everybody. He told me like at the time, last time I was in Cleveland and worked a club, I don't know. No, first time it was like a while ago, maybe 10 years ago. He came to a show, and afterwards we went up to my hotel. And I'm like, yeah, what have you been up to? And he told me he didn't believe people of different races should date each other. And then he took off his shirt and he had a tattoo and it said "Go to hell," but it was just like on his entire back, and it looked like someone wrote it with a pencil. Go to hell. And I was like, the hell happened to you, Joe? And I haven't seen him since.
Thank God. I'm so glad you haven't. I mean, but
so who would have thought the Joe that came out here and lived with me in California, I'd stop talking to, but the Joe that I met who shaved his eyebrows and used to work at a Burger King, I'm still friends with.
Wow, there you go. Hey man, you never know. So wait, the Joe that I met that lived out here,
the Joe that you met,
he turned into a racist.
Yeah, like I don't know what happened when he was living with us and 9/11 happened, and then he got all like paranoid or something and weird, and he worked at this HVAC company with all these idiots, and he was trying to do poetry and he just couldn't click in
California.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So he just kind of went back after a year.
All right, so check it out. I remember him because he was kind of like he had the dark hair, like kind of
dark blonde, dirty hair.
Yeah, dirty hair. I remember him.
Yeah.
So let's just address this real quick and we'll get back to Missouri. He says that he doesn't believe that people of a different race should date, right? So that's very specific, right? That's very, very specific.
After I told him I think I went out with an Asian girl or something, but then he said that. Like, what the fuck kind of friend?
Well, that was just, you saying that was just like his, like, a way for him to say what he needed to say. So what I'm thinking probably happened, Joe, if you're out there listening on the sly, because you don't want anybody to know.
The other Joe.
Is that the other Joe, not the cool Joe, not the Burger King Joe, right? Not the King Joe, the other Joe. What I think happened is he was in California and there was some girl that he kind of liked, right? He was feeling.
There was a girl he was feeling, and she was like hooked up with one of the HVAC guys or something.
Okay. And that HVAC guy could have been Black, Latin, Asian, Indian, or something else. And so instead of just accepting the fact that she didn't like your punk ass, right? He decides to be like, you know what? She's dating another guy who's not white. Ugh.
Yeah.
People of different races shouldn't date. I hate everybody. Go to hell. Completely no context. No context. Go to hell. No context. Who go to hell, Joe? Why go to hell? What's going to hell, Joe? It's the dumbest tattoo ever. And Joe, I said it. I hope you're listening. I hope you're sitting in your Dodge Wrangler, whatever the fuck it is you drive, and
that blows my mind. That guy and I were good friends, and we were into poetry. We do poetry and shit, and like music. We were in music, and then he went off the deep end. So anyway, back to Missouri.
All right, so you go down to see your friend's dad.
Phil, me, and then there's Murgle. Now Murgle, that's his last name. He's really punk rock. I always like Murgle.
That's a name for your ass.
That's his last name. What I like, Murgle had a mohawk, and he didn't like have it spiked up. It just hung in his face, and I'd be like, Murgle, why don't you like put in the gel? He's like, and spike it up. He's like, that's not punk rock. You think that's punk rock? Caring about that? And then like, when I was getting into music, I was like, do I get a solid state amp or a tube amp? What do I do, Merg? And he's like, Sal, you think Joey Ramone gave a shit what kind of amps they were playing out of?
Dude, this guy is awesome.
Yeah, dude, he's awesome, right?
He's awesome.
I mean, I think he's gone off to become white trash in his later years. But at the time, I looked up to Murgle. And Murgle had... He
That's very consistent with Ohio, by the way. I just want to throw that out.
He had these Coke bottle glasses, so he was a total door. Like people didn't take him. He didn't get any affection. So punk rock was his life, right?
Okay.
So anyway, we all go down to Missouri together, right?
Missouri.
Drive, 12 hours. Take turns driving.
Is it 12 hours from Ohio?
From Cleveland, it is, because Ohio alone is 4 hours to get out of the
state. Okay.
So. Because we're at the very top. So they only let me drive once. I drive too fast. I had a heavy foot back in the day.
I saw that amp.
Get this out. So we get there. I don't know. I don't even know where we were in Missouri, but it was around 4th of July. We bought all these fireworks. Okay. And the first thing I remember, Joe goes off with his dad somewhere. So it's me, Murgle, and Phil just hanging out in this house in hot ass Missouri.
He left you guys in the house by yourself?
Well, they went somewhere, and we had these fireworks. So we put them out on the street. And we're let's light them up. So we're lighting up these fireworks, and I go sit back down on the porch. And the second they start lighting, a car coming down turns, and it's a cop car. It turns right down the street.
Oh my goodness!
He stops in the middle of the street and sees this pile of fireworks, and then they go off right in front of the cop car.
That's very punk. That's very punk rock if you got it.
I just got up and walked right into the house. And the Murgle had to go talk with the cops. And they handled it.
This Murgle right here.
Yeah. Thing in his face, but they let it slide. So then
that's funny.
Then we go. Then his dad wanted to go out to this property he owned. All right, this land, and we're like, all right, now this was in the sticks. This is where I learned real America, real Missouri.
Okay.
So
Missouri.
So we go in there, and he has these 4-wheeler, and we just rode his 4-wheeler all the time on these dirt roads.
Oh, that's cool.
That was fun. We go to this property he has. He has like this trailer there or something set up, and his dad's like, me and my wife, we're gonna stay in the trailer. I'm like, all right. And then Joe, he had his girlfriend at the time fly down. And Joe and her stayed in the car that we drove down, and they slept in the back seat of the car. And then me, Murgle, and Phil are like, the fuck we do? The hell we do?
Dude.
So
I've never heard this story before. This is great, man.
So then we end up staying. So he has this huge dump truck full of like cardboard and stuff. And I don't know, man, it got cold that night. So we climbed into this fucking truck. And I think Phil took the front of the truck, like into the seat. So me and Murgle climb into the dump truck part. And I'm covering myself with cardboard to keep me warm. And I'll never forget this. Murgle leans over to me and he goes, Sal, trash goes in here.
Oh, dude, that's great. Sal, that's a great story. That's so funny on so many levels that you went to go visit a friend and they took you out to a piece of land and just like, it's bedtime.
Well,
good luck. Good
That's the craziest.
They didn't bring tents, sleeping bags. They didn't say anything.
Nothing. So then we did.
They treated you guys like savages, man.
There's no
okay.
running water. There's no running water.
Oh my
All
God.
right.
Okay. Okay.
I think I didn't shit for 3 days. I think we only stayed out there 3 days. We meet.
So you slept on under cardboard for 3 days?
I want to say so, something like that. It was not, yeah, maybe.
Whose dad? It was Joe's dad?
It was Joe's dad. And one thing he introduced me to was the frozen mug, where he'd keep a mug in the freezer. And then when you
Okay.
came out to have a beer and you pour your beer in it, oh God, it's so damn good. Especially on a
Okay.
100-degree Missouri day, right?
Okay. Okay. But
All right.
so let me make this clear. I'm just trying to follow along here. So Joe invites you to go visit his dad for a week down in Missouri, as you say. For one, they leave you guys at their house to go do God knows what. You guys
Yeah. We didn't want to go. We just hung out.
Okay.
But yeah.
So then you
Almost
guys let
got
off
busted by the
fireworks.
cops.
Yeah, for letting off fireworks. Then they're like, yo, we're gonna go out to this property and 4-wheel, which is fun, right?
Right.
Driving
That part
around.
was fun.
It was a great time. And then nighttime is coming. It's like, all right, well, me and my old lady gonna stay in a trailer. And then Joe is like, well, me and my girlfriend who just flew in town are gonna sleep in the backseat of a car. At that point, which you should have known, this doesn't look good for us guys.
Doesn't look good for the three fellas.
It's not good. And then they proceeded to make you guys sleep under the stars like animals, right? Like animals, and not just do it one night, but for 3 nights, you guys had to sleep under this.
There's more, Reg. So we meet his neighbor Lorne on the property. Lorne, his property.
Lorne, okay.
And he lives like in a trailer or something, and he's talking to us. I'm like, Lauren, like, where do you bathe or shower? You know, and he's like, I got a pond down the way there. Y'all can go. I'm like, do you bathe in that? He's like, no. But you can bathe in it if you like. So Lauren says to us, he's like, we see his daughter walk by one day.
Yeah.
She's like 21 or something, looks like an offensive lineman, got these shaved sides on her head, got this hair ponytail. She's carrying this toddler with her, right? Yeah. And Lauren goes, boys, where you boys from? Cleveland? We're like, yeah. He's like, y'all going back to Cleveland? We should bring my daughter with you. And we're like, I think we saw her walking. She's kind of a bigger girl there. Oh, yeah, she got a big ass, but something to grab on to at night.
Oh, my God. He's talking about his daughter.
Oh my God.
Oh, dude.
Oh my God.
Dude, how have I never heard this story before?
Oh, so we're almost done. So then one night, we're Murgle and Phil and I think Joe's girlfriend, we're all like, let's walk on down the street, decide like the street, you know, go to the main highway street, just go walk, check out the stars. So we start walking. The sun's still up, right? 4 of us are walking. Fucking the Hicks of Missouri, these people got dogs. They don't chain them up or anything. They just let them loose, right? So we're walking, and these dogs start running at us. Like there's like 10 of them, right?
No.
Coming up near the property, we're like, damn. And we just walk faster and we get to wherever. Right. So I remember we're laying on the street. We're laying on the street, like, and Murgle's like, I don't care if a car hits me right now. I'm so over Missouri. I'm looking at the stars, and it was beautiful. There was more stars than I saw than sky. And then Mary and Phil, like, all right, we're gonna head back to camp. And we're like, well, we're gonna hang out a little longer. So they head back, and then it gets really dark, and the sun goes down. And Murgle's combat boot, of course, he has combat boots. One of the heels broke right on the walk up. So then, like, whenever he walks, the nails from it would hit him in the heel, and he's like, oh fuck, and then he can't go walk barefoot because it's all gravel. So he's like, hey, get out. I was like, you know what, Bird? You're my boy. Climb on my back. I'm going to carry you back to camp.
What?
He's like, all right.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So he jumps on my back.
Hold on. Just to let everybody know that, Sal, at that point, I didn't know you, but I'm sure that you were like a $125 soaking wet.
I was very light, but I was still tall.
It doesn't matter.
So I was skinny, but I was tall. Oh, look, he gets on my back.
Okay, all right, go ahead. That's crazy to me, by the way.
He jumps on my back. I'm carrying him like this. We start walking. It's dark. The dogs are more active at night. They don't give a shit. They run off the property right at me, right? And I got them on my back, and now they're around me, barking and biting, like snipping. And I'm like, oh shit! And then I fall backwards with Murgle on my back, and I land right on his nuts, right? But these dogs are all like, holy shit. basically he just got up. He's like, fucking, I'll walk in the gravel. And we just go.
I love the fact that you fell back on his nuts. And at that point, even the dogs are like, ooh.
Yeah, they didn't bite us. And they were just like
well, after they saw what you did to your friend's nuts, they're like, just imagine what he do to us.
So dude, then we were driving back and we had to go back get his girlfriend at the airport. And I remember we were riding that 4-wheeler for 3 days on dirt roads and there was no running water and we had to go eat. So we go in this restaurant and literally we had all brown dirt on us and shit. We were disgusting, dude. Like we're washing the bathroom sink and it's just like dirt all in the sink.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was crazy. And then we drove back. Murgal wanted to leave that night. Well, we left in the middle of the night. We drove back. And I remember Phil had to pee and Murgal refused to pull over because he's like, I'm not pulling over to get out of the state. And so, so Joe was sleeping. It was his sister's car, I remember. And he was sleeping and in the front seat. And Murgal made Phil had to unroll the back window. It's childproof, so it only came halfway down. And he hung out there out of the window on the highway and just started pissing. And it was
what?
dying.
Are you serious?
He wouldn't pull over for him.
He wouldn't pull over. Dude, we'd have to fight. You understand that? We'd have to fight.
Not Phil. Phil wasn't a fighter.
God. See, and this is why, just a quick PSA to everybody out there, guys, that's why you got to do some push-ups and some sit-ups, at least a little bit, so that dude can't hold you hostage while you're holding your piss in a car. Dude, that's crazy. He basically hung out the side out
it was
of the
very
car
dangerous.
to get high enough to get his junk out to pee.
Yeah, it was hilarious, dude. His thighs were hitting against the childproof window. Like he could have totally fallen out, probably.
Oh yeah, that's crazy,
man.
Dude. That's crazy. That's funny, but that's crazy.
There it is. Yeah, there it is. So look, Reg, we hit over an hour. We're already done.
Oh yeah, we're at 12:17. Okay. I just want to know how do you stay friends with somebody like that? Like how do you? I mean, because look, it's one thing. It started off good. The story started off great. Hey, we're gonna go visit my dad for a week, right? Like, come on down, it'll be great. And then you get there, they leave you at the house because you didn't want to go, and then they take you out into the wherever and don't give you sleeping accommodations at all. Like straight up treat you like animals, right? Right? Sleeping in the back of a dump truck with cardboard like you're homeless, dude. No. And this went on for days. No,
I shot some guns. I shot some guns for the first time that weekend. I just shot like a plank of wood.
Dude,
all right, awesome. I did it. It's not that great. I don't see the great. Whole, you know.
I mean, they were trying to turn you into hillbillies, man. That was, you basically went through hillbilly training. that was like hillbilly boot camp. It's what you went through, dude.
It was really rural down there. When he took us that property, whew, it was a different world, man. That's funny.
I think my favorite line, my favorite line is there's a pond out there. Like, you bathe in that? No, but you can't.
Dude, the characters, man, the characters.
Oh man, that's awesome.
No, but Joe's great. He's artist. That's the thing too. Artist. You keep in touch. You know.
All right.
You're not gonna let one little bad trip kill you.
Yeah, we won't. Joe, I won't hold it against you that you had this man sleeping outside like an animal for 5 days. Like, I'm sure you're a good dude. You're better than the other Joe.
He could have become racist Joe, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're better than the other Joe. Way better than the other Joe. Racist Joe. Racist. I can't believe she liked another guy who's not white. Go to hell. Go to nobody should date anybody of a separate race. Go to hell. Like, Joe, your tattoo is dumb. It has no context, right? So all right, man. Well, I guess we
good
hit our
times.
That was
Thanks
great,
for
man.
Listening, everybody.
Let me see. Wait, isn't there anything else that we should throw in there right before? Oh, we gotta do a commercial.
We'll do it next time, Reg.
Oh man. Okay. No commercial this time. All right, no commercial. Hey man, this is good. This is
all right, man. Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time on Spitballin.
There you go.